I'm Japanese, but I've lived in Western countries for a while, and something interesting became clear to me during that time. The idea of well-being in Japan and in the West feels noticeably different. I think the Japanese perspective on well-being might add a new kind of happiness to your life, so let's start there. This is just my personal take, but Western well-being often seems to focus heavily on climbing the social ladder, reaching success, making big dreams come true. Getting a promotion, earning more money, expanding constantly. I actually admire that proactive mindset a lot. But doesn't it sometimes feel exhausting? If you've ever felt that way, I think the Japanese approach might suit you better. That approach is going deep instead of going up. In simple terms, it means focusing on mastering what you're already doing right now, instead of chasing money or trying to beat someone else. That way, you don't have to worry about competition or numbers. You can simply enjoy the small progress you make every single day. Have you ever heard of Sukiyabashi Jiro? It's one of the most famous sushi restaurants in Japan. Jiro Ono, the sushi master, has been making sushi in the same 10-seat restaurant in Tokyo for over 50 years. You'd think he'd open more locations, start a franchise, go global, right? But he didn't. Everything was about making even better sushi. I've heard that even at 98 years old, Jiro's sushi is still evolving. He simply enjoyed mastering the art of sushi, and in the end, popularity and money came naturally. That's the power of going deep instead of going up. So why not dive deeply into your hobby or your work and truly master it? Go deep and enjoy the journey. Who knows? In 10 years, you might be world famous. This connects directly to another idea many of you have probably heard of, Ikigai. I'm sure some of you have even read the book. In that book, Ikigai is usually shown as a diagram, the overlap of 4 circles: what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. Honestly, as a Japanese person, that framework feels a little off to me. For us, Ikigai isn't about something grand, like what the world needs from you. It's much simpler, more like the small joys hidden in everyday life. It could be your job, or maybe just small daily habits. When I made a video about Ikigai before, people shared things like growing vegetables, journaling, taking a walk, or drinking tea, just simple things. What I realized is this: the key isn't searching for Ikigai. It's having a mindset that finds joy and gratitude in small things. Japanese well-being isn't about chasing, it's about noticing. With that mindset, anything you do can start to feel like Ikigai. You know otaku culture, right? I used to think Japanese otaku culture was a little strange. Some people seem genuinely obsessed. But from a well-being perspective, I've realized they might actually be some of the happiest people in the world. Why? Because they have an Oshi. Oshi is Japanese slang for someone you passionately support and love, someone who brings you happiness simply by existing. Back in the day, this might have been the emperor or a kabuki actor. Now it could be an idol, an anime character, an athlete, even a writer. Anyone can be your Oshi. The best part is that simply having an Oshi makes you happy. It has nothing to do with your titles or your status. When you cheer for them, you feel pure and excited, like a kid again. My Oshi right now is Yoasobi. Do you have an Oshi? If you don't have one yet, maybe I can be yours. Have you ever heard of Shabbat? In Judaism, it's a weekly day of rest where people step away from their daily routines to focus on prayer and reflection. Interestingly, from a neuroscience perspective, this kind of rest is said to help refresh the mind. For me, I think Japan has its own version of Shabbat, and it's taking a bath. I love baths. Japanese people usually bathe at the end of the day. While we're in the bath, we forget about work, daily stress, and anything negative. allowing ourselves to reset and recharge. The bath is more than just a routine. It's a habit that genuinely supports Japanese well-being. There's something about deliberately setting aside time to simply sit in warm water, with no phone, no obligations, nothing to accomplish, that our modern lives rarely allow for. It's not about getting clean, it's about creating a boundary between the day that just ended and the rest that's about to begin. If your culture doesn't have a built-in equivalent of this, borrowing the habit costs nothing and asks very little of you. Just 15 or 20 minutes at the end of the day, undisturbed. This one is a little interesting. Katsushika Hokusai, the legendary Japanese artist, you've probably seen his famous wave drawing. He created that. He was a famous painter, but did you know he had another side? He also secretly created shunga, adult artwork, under the pen name Slippery Iron Rod. When I first learned this, I was surprised. Why did he do this? But then I realized he must have had so much fun keeping this secret. I imagine him thinking, there's no way people will guess I drew this. Sounds fun, right? What I learned from this is that having a secret could be a key to making life more exciting. You could open a secret Instagram account just to sing, and that little joy could turn your life into an adventure. Do I have a secret? That's a secret. Now here's something completely different, but related to shared joy, sharing food. Once, I was eating with Italian fans, and I said, "Let's share our pizza." But they told me, "In Italy, we don't usually share dishes like that." That completely surprised me, because in Japan, sharing food is completely normal. At izakayas, for example, we don't order separate dishes for each person. Instead, we order a bunch of different dishes and share everything. This culture of sharing can sometimes be a little annoying. We occasionally fight over the last piece. Hey, that was my piece of meat. But other times, it's about sharing joy. This is amazing. You have to try it. Making people happy and receiving happiness in return. That's a beautiful cycle, and I think it plays a genuinely important role in Japanese well-being. This is one of my favorite Japanese arts, Kintsugi, the technique of repairing broken ceramics or glass with lacquer and gold. Sure, it was once broken. It's no longer flawless. But because of those cracks, it becomes even more beautiful, a unique piece, completely one of a kind in the entire world. Isn't it the same for us? None of us is perfect. But when you can accept yourself exactly as you are, cracks and all, that's when real well-being begins. There's a line from Princess Mononoke that captures this perfectly. Keep on living. You are beautiful. Ashitaka says this to a woman who believes her scars make her unworthy, and the message lands the same way Kintsugi does. The damage doesn't need to be hidden or erased to be beautiful. Sometimes the damage, given the right kind of attention, becomes the most beautiful part of the whole piece. Think about the parts of yourself you usually try to hide, the mistakes, the failures, the things that didn't go as planned. Kintsugi suggests a different response than shame. Highlight them instead of hiding them, because they're proof of a life that's actually been lived, rather than one carefully protected from ever breaking. This idea comes from the Zen teaching of emptiness, ku. Letting go of things creates space and allows new things to flow in. I've experienced this myself. When I was in my 20s, I got rid of almost everything I owned and ended up homeless. I was truly devastated, but because of that, new opportunities began to arrive. I started working at a matcha cafe in Canada, became a teacher, and eventually became a YouTuber. Letting go creates space for new energy, new opportunities, and a new life. Letting go can be scary sometimes, right? It's frightening. But only by releasing your grip can you make room to hold something exciting. That's why I believe letting go is also a key part of well-being. The last idea ties everything together: the power of routine. In Japan, we see routine as something beautiful. Take the tea ceremony as an example. It's not just about drinking matcha, it's about turning a simple act into a refined art through routine. By embracing routines, you're able to focus on the present moment. You can forget negative things, and your mind begins to relax. That's well-being, isn't it? And the good news is, you can apply this routine mindset to your own daily life too. I create a morning routine, a cleaning routine, a stretching routine, even a shower routine. Here's what I've realized. Even the smallest daily tasks can feel tedious if you rush through them. But when you do them carefully and intentionally, turning them into a routine, they become healing. So let's create your own routine and try doing it like a tea ceremony. That's it for today. Which of these ideas resonated with you the most? I hope you'll try even one of them starting today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.